Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure. Those are the famous opening lines of every welcome address. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this gathering marking the 20th anniversary of environmental rights action. This is both for me both a welcome address and a farewell address. And although it's a farewell in a certain sense, we've never really marked any anniversary. So it's very important in our history that we're gathering here today to reflect on what has happened over the past 20 years. The history of ERA has not been fully defined. As about all organizations, it started in the mind. And you cannot really say when a dream started, when you wake up. And so take it that you all know us as Friends of the Earth chapter in Nigeria. You also know us as the host organization of Oil Watch International, the Global South Resistance Network to reckless exploitation of fossil fuels. ERA began life, as I said, as a dream, what became known as a project of the Civil Liberties Organization, CLO, around about 1990. Shortly after that, I was privileged to serve on the board of the CLO from 1993 to 1999. ERA became an independent organization when it turned impossible for it to operate in a world of environmental networks while being anchored in the human rights, fully human rights community. The environment out of which ERA came out provides the unique platform and character for which ERA is known today. And that is looking at environmental rights as the very key cardinal requirement for humanity and for the planet. Indeed, we see human rights as being merely a part of as humans, as merely a part of the environment. And so, even though their rights are considered predominant, this does not mean that theirs are necessarily superior to other beings, the rights of other beings, or the right of nature herself. For 20 years, ERA has been powered by key principles, and I'll mention a few of them. Number one, that every African has a right to a safe and satisfactory environment in which to develop, as enshrined in the African Charter of Human and People's Rights. That's Article 24. We believe also that human rights are best defended when ecosystems are respected. We believe that the promotion of environmentally responsible government, governmental, commercial, community, and individual practices is best attained through the empowerment of local people and communities. We believe also that local people have the right and knowledge to control local resources. And finally, that pro-environment policy changes are best worked for through non-violent resistance. And as we say in Oil Watch, resistance is the right to say no and to mean it. We stayed on course over the years, and especially during the difficult days when Nigeria was under military dictatorship, because we had dedicated ERA people, and because we had an unambiguous philosophical and political compass that ensured that we did not drift. Today I look back with satisfaction that ERA people, whether in civic organization or outside ERA, have stayed the course. And some of the ERA persons who have moved on to other endeavors are with us today, and we shall duly recognize them. Over the years, we suffered persecution, faced afflictions, and enjoyed triumphs. Our triumph has been that our work with communities impacted by deforestation, land grabs, oil spills, gas flares, and pollutions of all types has succeeded because the people have resolutely stood against the pushers of these harmful practices. We have stayed because we view every sin of environmental harm inflicted by the agency of man as a crime scene. Although we sometimes resort to civil actions as a measure of resistance, we note that these are not sufficient to stem environmental crimes. And this is why we're asking for more active legislative activism to make ecocide a universally accepted crime at the same level as genocide and even beyond homicide, so that those who commit genocide should not be able to hide behind corporate shields or will be held individually, collectively, and personally responsible for the crime, punishable with long jail terms and other deterrent measures to help them avoid environmental misbehavior. Today, I look back across 20 short years of momentous changes, and I'm happy that the four persons, as Orotodo, Ashton Jones, Godwin Ojo, and I, who brought this group to be, are still engaged in the defense of Mother Earth in one way or the other. I remember our days of challenging harmful big dams in northern Nigeria, massive logging in forests in many of our southern states. I remember our struggles against motor spills and gas flares. I remember our battles against wholesale destruction of communities by government to pave the way for corporate clause to sink deeper into our lands. We have fought steadily against the wasting of our environment and livelihoods by the petroleum sector. The world's addiction to carbon high life has elevated dirty oil companies to the level of the gods. Easy oil has now given way to tough oil. The scrape of the bottom of the barrel has thrown up dangerous extractive methods, spewing even more greenhouse gases to the atmosphere and sentencing the world to climate catastrophe. Climate catastrophe. And while global leaders would not commit to provide funds for adaptation and resilience building, multiples of what is needed is being expended on wars fought for profit at the expense of disposable lives, sometimes in the name of exporting democracy. In the era of peak oil, it appears we have passed over peak democracy without attaining democracy in the first place. Today, I call upon all of us to tell the emperor that he is indeed naked, to tell the promoters of neoliberalism that they're running at one spot on empty tank. Let us shout it out loud. It is time to leave the oil in the soil, from Yasuni to Ogoni, to Kaiso in the Red Valley of East Africa, and to Lofoten in Norway and elsewhere. And if Nigeria is serious about fighting global warming, gas flaring must be stopped immediately. Shutting down oil production in order to tackle the gas flaring problem makes economic sense if we consider the implications of catastrophic global warming. And of course, the government must halt oil theft, halt the regime of unaccounted for oil through lack of metering. You will notice that no matter how much oil spills we have in this country, no matter how much they shout about third-party interference on the pipelines, this never really affects the volume of oil that's officially exported. And if the official volume of oil that's exported is not impacted by rampant losses of crude oil in the mine, it means that we don't really know the volume of oil that Nigeria is extracting, and it's time for this to be known. Today, while celebrating our 20 years of marching on for environmental rights, I remember individuals and communities who have greatly inspired me as a person. Kesar Wiwa, executed by the state on false charges on 10 November 1995. I remember the peoples of Umoechen, of Bakalori, of Oti, of Odioba, of Ilaji, of Paramatu, and others. I salute the mentoring I continue to receive from our foremost community environmental activist, Comrade Chair Gregory, who would have been here today over 8 years, still marching on strong, alive and well. He may join us before the day is over. I salute Sister Magdalena Macaron, a Catholic nun from Ireland, who kept her letters she received from Kesarua while in his last days in prison, and whose collection of letters will soon be published later this month. And she provided a lot of inspiration to us when we started as an organization by giving us some books that help to frame our understanding of the issues and where we should go. I salute my wife, my family. I salute all our comrades across Africa and across the continents of the world. Your presence here today is of great significance to us. As we look back, we also look forward. 20 years have passed, 20 more years will come, and many more years perhaps, if the world doesn't go bust. The baton must be passed on. And so while remaining entrenched with the foot soldiers, it gives me great pleasure to formally hand the baton over to my brother, my comrade, Godwin Ojo, and